Good evening, everybody. My name is Iyad Agha, and today I'd like to share some thought about migrating to Swift with you. First of all, some words about me. This is the long version of my name, but I'm fine with Iyad Agha. I am lead mobile engineer at Mobile Scout 24. I develop iOS, Android, and even Windows Phone. Let's start with the fact that most companies don't use Swift yet. It's sad, but it's true. Ryan Olson, a famous blogger, downloaded the 100 top free apps and wrote some scripts to check them and found out that just 11% of them have some Swift. They are not completely Swift, but some Swift. If you like to, I have the link at the bottom of the slide. If you want to know details about the evaluation, just visit this link. Then I thought, what could be the argument why companies don't use that, don't use Swift yet? First of all, maybe they say Objective-C and Swift are logically equivalent. You can do the same feature with both language. Why should I migrate? They are semantically equivalent. Actually, all common language are more or less equivalent. Second argument, this is a management argument. It's the migration would be very expensive, and a manager would say to you, "Are you crazy? Why should I pay a lot of money for nothing?" Third argument is, I hear this argument more from developer. They say Apple will support Objective-C for a long time. Those arguments might be true, but Swift is better than Objective-C. I will not explain this fact, but who agree with? Who of you agree with that? Yeah, I like you. There are a ton of blogs and tutorials describes the feature of Swift and why Swift is the better language as Objective-C. Second is the books, tutorials, and blogs are or will be mostly written in Swift. Maybe you might notice that the new books, for example, from Big Nerd Branch, are all written in Swift. New libraries are or will be mostly written in Swift. You might say you can use a Swift library in Objective-C, but I say if you are integrating in a library, it's better to understand the library. Maybe you want to adapt this library to your needs. And there are some cool libraries that just works with Swift. For example, r.swift is based on Swift structures, and it just runs with Swift. I noticed in our team that newcomer, for example, working students have no big motivation to learn Objective-C. Why should I learn an outdated language? Why I want to concentrate on the future. Another argument, Natasha did a poll and asked developer if they want to work at the company, have no plan to migrate. And 77% said no. Who of you will also answer with no? Yeah. So we know that it's a good idea to migrate to Swift. What should we do now? Migrating to Swift doesn't have to be a big bang. You don't need to stop the world. Objective-C and Swift are interoperable. That means you can mix them, and you can do smooth migration step by step. That means it is good news for product manager. You don't need to stop to freeze the app for half a year or something like that just to migrate. You can do this step by step. It's very good news for manager. Write new classes in Swift. If you must to write new code, just write it in Swift. You will get that for free. The second level is write new feature in Swift. That means if you are going to write new feature, just don't touch the Objective-C code, write this feature from scratch in Swift. Do your refactorings in Swift. Maybe you have some messy classes, messy code, and you want to clean up this code, and it's a good idea to do that in Swift, because Swift is better as Objective-C. Do pure Swift migration. Why not doing the Swift migration just for its sake? I mean, if you start mixing code, you will have two languages in your code base, and you would obviously you don't want to have this for a long time, because you have to maintain two languages. A newcomer should learn two languages. You have to accelerate this migration, and maybe you can do just pure migration. I think this one is hard to sell to manager. Try it, and if it doesn't work, just combine it with refactoring or new feature. And if you estimate the feature, just estimate it with double so much points, and do it in Swift. So at the Movement Scout 24, my company, we started at in my last year to write new classes in Swift. This is our first commit in Swift. I was excited to introduce the first big class. I think big, it was something about 100 lines of code. We don't write big classes at the Movement Scout 24. Then at January, we got the requirement to write a new big feature in our app, and we decided to write this feature with Swift, pure Swift, with a new technology stack based on RX Swift, on cryptography and Swift language. That means we have now this situation. We have this blue one is our code base, is a mixed code, Objective-C and Swift. We have some own libraries written in Objective-C. And this new feature I talked about is a new technology stack based on Swift, and it doesn't rely on this Objective-C code. That means, for example, our networking layer here is Objective-C layer and based on if network. In our new stack, we are not using that. We are relying just on NSURL session. And based on RX Java, we have reactive backend in this feature. And we decided to write this way, and we say now it's the way that we want to work in the future. That means in the future, if you want to rewrite some code in our code base, we will do that this way, the green color. So now we have in our code base nearly 67,000 lines of code, of which nearly 5,000 are written in Swift. That means 8.6. So if you have Objective-C code, just go to your boss and convince them to migrate to Swift, and let us Swiftify the world. Thank you. If you have a question, yes, please.
I see like one problem. Imagine you have like a team of 10 developers and just 2 of them know Swift. How to convince management to train the other developers? Because they say, okay, just 2 of them know Swift, so we go the safe way and write Objective-C.
I would convince the developer themselves, because the future is Swift, and if I convince the developer to do that, the management don't have to decide anything. I would work on the developer because management is always skeptic regarding new things, but developers are mostly excited about new things and want to try some new things and new libraries. And as I said, there are very cool libraries written in Swift, and if you are learning Swift and migrating to Swift, you have the chance to bind them to your code and maybe to contribute to those libraries. I would work on that developer themselves. Welcome. Yes, please.
I think there is another problem because the company I've been working at, when I did the migration from Swift 1.2 to Swift 0.2, there were just quite a lot of problems, and it's still in a young language. And that's not really what will happen.
We started with Swift, I think, with 1.2. And Apple always delivered an automatic way to migrate to the new. We didn't have a big pain with that topic. It's
And my CEO was mad about it because he didn't know if it would be worse to upgrade or migrate because of the switch to iOS 9. So and now, right now, 25 persons are installed iOS 9. So that
Do you have pure Swift app or a mixed app?
yeah, I have a pure Swift app.
Okay.
So that was a problem, at least for 2 weeks or something like that. But no one knows if it will work. It's still a young language, and just simple things didn't work, or new features to get into.
I must say we did
It works. A lot of rewriting.
we don't have a big issues with that. Our issues was actually unit testing because in Objective-C we are using OC mock for mocking, and it's a problem in Swift because Swift is a statically typed language and you cannot mock the classes. You just need to do that manually. It's was the biggest pain point with our migration. But as I said, we did. It's a feature about. I think this green feature is about 3,000 lines of code, and it just works. And I think the maturity of Swift is now enough to put it in production. It's our experience.
It really didn't convince me after migrating from 1.2 to 2. It was just, I don't know, hundreds of nightmare bugs for a couple of weeks.
Yes, maybe we just need to catch up after that and share some experiences. Someone else, please?
Yeah, I also would say if you really depend on it and if you really earn money right now with your app and you have to deliver updates and cannot have any, or it's not accepted to have problems with it, then you should probably wait until Swift 3.0. Since then, Apple, I think, said that they will stabilize the API. And before that, I mean, the next update for Swift probably will break stuff. Firstly, second, Xcode still cannot refactor Swift, which is really a pain point, I think. And third, many articles of the documentation, the official documentation, are still for Objective-C. So you have the reference, but all the guides, all the programming guides or part of them are still in Objective-C, so you have to always think and know both of the languages. So if you have new people there, you will waste time or will spend time on explain the transition between the documentation and the actual program.
Yes, but in my opinion, you just need to start early with that, because if you are waiting to Swift 3.0, it's, in my opinion, it's too late. You just need to be hand-on in the language and to learn the language. And if you don't
side with you have to migrate and you have to look at it, but if you're really dependent on it, if you're a small startup starting right now and you want to you have to earn money or you have to deliver continuously, then it's probably not, and your developers are not completely into Swift, and then you shouldn't do that probably. You should be more careful about migration.
Okay, time is. I'm sorry, time is over. Should I take one question? One last question, yeah.
So if I may, I want to put my opinion into this.
Yes, please.
Like you said, I'm going to counter your opinion because I work in a company in Java. I'm on the iOS side and we are writing everything in Swift right now. And like you said, it's making money and it's good, and we're depending on Swift. It's not a big problem for us, but like when I was doing Swift in 1.2, then migrated to Swift 2, it was a big problem because Swift is had a problem. Other libraries depending on had a problem first. So I need to fix that first.
Yeah.
So, but after 2.2, it's really stable. I think when it comes to Swift 3.0, there might be some changes, like you said. But for me, Swift is a dependent language.
Okay, guys, thank you very much.